everyone, Karen Roby, Adrian Kingsley Hughes here for ZDNet, and talking today about our phones. Adrian, obviously something we talk about a lot, but not from this point of view. I think this is really interesting, this article you put together here about really what purpose does our phone itself serve, and why everything is built around the phone. What's interesting is that you got some strong feedback on this article.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, I can see the origins of the smartphone if you look over time. Mm-hmm. We had this thing in our pocket, we had it all the time, and it made sense for it to become a convergence device. So it became a camera, it became our entertainment system, it became a little mini computer, it became the thing we used to navigate with. Now it's becoming our door keys, our ways we keep paying for things. So it became this convergence device. But I've got to admit, I hate the phone. The phone part of it is the bit that I use least, probably, and hate the most. And I'll explain briefly why I hate it, because most of the calls I get from it are spam or phishing. Most of the text messages I get are spam or phishing. It has a high noise to signal ratio for me. And I think of the phone as a very old legacy bit of kit. It's this thing that was in our house that would ring, that we had to immediately put our attention to. And I don't think that if we were inventing something now, we would have anything that intrusive. It's weird even that if I look at the progression of the iPhone, probably the smartest phone out there, that it's only until recently did I have the option if a call was coming in. It didn't just take over everything and make itself this massively important thing. So as far as I'm concerned, I would be happy to just not have the phone part in there. And it was really interesting because people came up with all these reasons about kind of, well, what if you want to call 911, or the equivalent in the UK is 999?
Right.
I've never done that. But here in the UK, certainly you can send text messages. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't see why that feature couldn't still be in there, because in the UK, at least, as far as I'm concerned, when a phone is disconnected or doesn't have money on it or is off contract, you can still make emergency calls on it. Mm-hmm. So I'd be happy to have that feature, but otherwise, why have it? Let's have it all gone.
Well, and I think what's interesting, and I wouldn't have really thought about it in this way, Adrian, had you not put this article together. We've been talking about it here today, but you know, when I look to digital natives, or like my kids' age, that is the one thing that they really don't use on their phone is the phone. I mean, it's their apps, it's their Snapchat, it's all of those things. And so if you look to that generation and what's coming up, I mean, the phone is just this idea that doesn't really even, I mean, when I say call me, they're like, oh, can I just message you? I mean, that's the norm for them.
Yeah, I think it's an indicator. It's like TV in some ways. How many people actually watch live TV now? Here in the UK, again, we're very different. We have a thing called a TV license where we pay this as a tax to own a television, and the proceeds go to the BBC. But a lot of modern people, I know young people, my kids for sure, none of them have a TV. And they probably never will. They're watching YouTube, they're watching all this other kind of stuff out there. They're basically choosing what they want to pay for. And I think the phone is very much the same way. When I was a kid, people could not imagine not having a phone in their house. People could not imagine not a phone being on the street that they could use. The phone in the street's long gone. People just love the boxes for vintage stuff here in the UK now.
Yeah, here too.
Yeah, they love them for that. You know, the red boxes, and you know, even the red boxes mostly were gone by the time I was a kid. They put more vandal-proof stuff in because kids were being kids.
Right.
But I think, you know, the phone is one of those weird little devices that I don't see the point of it. And it's very hard to break free of it. Some people made some very interesting points. They said, well, why not just get a data-only SIM? And that's an interesting idea. But again, as far as I've looked into this, it's very hard to get a data-only SIM that gives me what I need, which would be essentially unlimited data, because they know if you're going to have a data SIM, you're going to put it into something like a modem and you're going to burn through it in a huge, quick amount of time.
Right.
Fortunately, again, in the UK, the weird thing is they cannot discriminate between a data SIM in a phone and a data SIM in a modem. So you can switch them here in the UK, and they can't basically frown upon you. But I still think that's they're hoping you're going to make calls on the phone. And
Right. Right.
so it's this thing again. Yeah. So for me, I would happily get rid of it. I've looked at everything on there. It's all just garbage as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
I can call my, if my car breaks down, I can make that thing through an app. If I need to call the emergency services, I presume that would feature be built in, or I could use text messaging or something. I don't use this thing. It would remove such a massive level of hassle and a massive surface for scams as well.
Right.
I actually did hear from a lot of people who said that they give phones to their elderly parents for contact through things like FaceTime and so on. And they were saying the same thing, that they wish they could turn this phone part off, delete the messaging apps and all this kind of stuff, because it would be a lot safer. So yeah, I honestly think in 10 years we won't be having this discussion. I think it's one of those things. I think the phone is gone. Right. Essentially, there's so many different ways we can talk now.
Yeah,
that are way better than using the phone.
And like you said, people years ago would never have thought we could do without having the phone on the wall in the house. Yeah. It just mind blowing. So yeah,
it's one of those things. Things move on, and I think the convenience aspect of the phone, I think, is it hasn't kept up with the time in the way email has done. If email was now like it used to be, it would be a hellscape of spam and rubbish. But it's actually come along to a point where it's quite intelligent. The phone isn't. It's just it's just a conduit for anybody who wants to kind of have my attention and trying to have nonsense. Yeah. Right.
And scam. That's for sure. Right. All right. Something to think about. No doubt, Adrian. Well, we appreciate you being with us here today, and you can find Adrian's full article. Certainly let him know what you think on ZDNet. Thanks for being with us.